speak. I know that this is the part where my kids play a game, how many times will mommy cry? But I'll try to keep it to a minimum. But you'll tell me later how many times you all guessed. Okay, anyhow. This is the day Hashem made. Let us rejoice and be happy with it. We are incredibly thankful and grateful that all of you are here with us today. And please know that our family simcha is elevated by each and every one of you being here with us tonight. As we all know, it takes a large group, a support group of family, community, and school, and shul to help raise our children. And we are so blessed and grateful for all the people we have in our lives and who love and give us support. Riverdale, the Riverdale Minyan, and SAR have been amazing to us, as have our friends to whom we love and are thankful for being in our lives. We're thinking of our many family and friends who could not be with us today, but we know are with us in spirit. We want to thank our siblings and extended siblings, the Osbams, the Glazers, the Blooms, the Glicks, and the Lishbachs. We love you and thank you. And we're very, very blessed that you are in our lives, and we love our crazy extended family. Yonah, 13 years ago, you were born an hour after Tisha B'Av. I guess I forgot I wrote that. It was very important to Yonah to lay in his bar mitzvah parsha in camp on Shabbos Nachamu, but also important to him to help celebrate this milestone with our community that he has grown up in. We also want to acknowledge Yonah's great-grandparents, Bubby Love and Zadie, and his great-grandmother, Grandma. We know that you wanted to be here with us today, and even though you're physically far, we feel your love and support. I also want to mention my beloved father, Michael Osman, whose sense of humor and love was felt by everybody in his presence and is still missed every day. It is in his zechut that I, as Yonah's mother, am able to teach Torah and learn Mishnah with him, because he always shared his love and commitment to Torah, not only with his sons, but equally with his daughter. To our children, we know that pre-Simchat time, at least in our house, I'm not going to judge what it's like for everybody else, has some ups and downs. You all just came back from camp. We're busy getting Ora ready for Israel. Ora's going to leave next Thursday. We wish her a big Seitzchan L'Shalom. And busy getting ready for the bar mitzvah and unpacking. So thank you for putting up with us and teaching us how to be good parents. David, well, I'll do my parents first. Okay. Okay, Mom and Mark, thank you for always being there for us and supporting us at every step of our life. We hope that we will be able to give our children the same love and support you so generously always share with us. And to David's parents, who unfortunately could not be here with us tonight, but were with us in Israel, we know that you're thinking of us and we feel your love. They were with us in camp. We know that you're thinking of us and we feel your love. We feel your love as well tonight. Okay, now here's the ad-lib part. David. David puts up with a lot with me. You have infinite patience for me. And I appreciate that you always let me do my crazy and my vision. And I couldn't do it with anybody else. So thank you. I love
you. The reason that I put up with it is because I love you. So thank you very much for all of that and for everything else that you do, for not just for our family, but for really everyone here and everyone, extended family, extended friends, community, and everybody else. So I'm envious and I'm humbled by it. Okay, good. That was ad-lib. Now, here we go. Yonah. I want to talk to you about your namesake, your great-grandfather, and my grandfather, Marvin Glazer, Mordechai ben Itka. Zadie, as he was called by his grandchildren, had many wonderful characteristics that are very similar to your personality. He was quiet and patient, but had a great sense of humor. He was very smart and always brought out the best in people when they were around him. He knew how to talk gently to people, and he more importantly knew how to listen. He was a Rodef Shalom, a seeker of peace. He always tried to be a peacemaker, whether it was for family or business. He disliked conflict and tried hard to resolve them. He had his share of trials and tribulations in his life, but made the decision to forge ahead. He never felt bad for himself and never let those experiences keep him from being his best self. His father died while he was fighting for the United States during World War II, and his mother died very shortly after returning home to Texas. He was a Purple Heart recipient for being injured during the war. He was also a very proud Jew. It is said about him that he always carried a folded up kippah in his suit pocket because he was always the one they called if ever they needed a minyan. It is also said about him that he never said a bad word about anyone, ever. Yonah, you have similar character traits. You are smart, funny, a Rodef Shalom, and a proud and committed Jew. You take your work seriously and always try to be your best self, just like your great-grandfather. You take your relationships seriously. You're a good friend, and you bring out the best in other people. You too do not speak ill of anyone, at least that I've heard. And you always make people feel welcome. You are a leader, always making decisions based on what is right and correct, just like your great-grandfather. Mommy and I hope that you continue to cultivate this characteristic of being Rodef Shalom. When you see conflict, see how you can solve it. As Mr. Rogers famously explained, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. Yonah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and disagree with Mr. Rogers. Yonah, do not just look for the helpers, be one of the helpers. You have been blessed with many kochot from Hashem, and we pray that you will use them to bring shalom into this world, just like your great-grandfather for whom you were named.
Yonah, it has been a privilege for me to learn Masechet Zorim with you over the last few years. In a few minutes, we will complete our learning of the Seder, but before that, I want to share with you and everyone a few words of Torah and an important lesson to think about as you embark on Gil Mitzvah. Masechet Zorim deals with the agricultural law of the Jewish people, and often when I learn Masechet Zorim, I think about how we have to imagine that even though many of those halachot don't seem relevant to us today, how important they must be to the day-to-day life of a Jew living in that time. Often when I think about our ritual life today, it's defined by things like Shabbos, Kashrus, and things like that, but really in that time, agricultural law was really maybe what defined most people's religious experience, and may have comprised the majority of people's relationship to Hashem. I want to speak tonight about what to me is actually one of the most profound Mishnahs, I think, in all of Mishnah. And many of you know I love Mishnah. Okay, this Mishnah is found in Masechet Demai, Perek Zayin, Mishnah Aleph. Demai deals with a category of food that we're unsure if the proper types were taken to be distributed to the Kohanim, to the priests, and to the Leviim. The Mishnah presents a situation where a person who's always careful to make sure that he takes the tithes, somebody who the Mishnah refers to very often as a chaver, is invited for Shabbat to eat with somebody, with his friend, who he knows is actually not so careful to always do this mitzvah. And so what does the Mishnah propose as a solution for how he can go and have Shabbat with his friend? Hamanzin al chaveroshi yochel etzlo, one who invites his friend before Shabbat to eat with him. V'hui no mamino al hamaser, and we don't trust this friend who did the inviting that he's careful to take the maser. Omer me erev Shabbos, the guest who is careful, he says on erev Shabbos, Ma she'ani atid lahafrish machar harehu maser. When I go to the table tomorrow and I eat, I'm going to take a little portion aside, and that's going to be my maser. Ushar maser samuch lo, and the nearest of it, the rest of that will be maser. Zeh shasiti maser asuri trumat maser alav, and that what I made maser will also be the trumat maser, right, which was the maser that also had the Levim had to take for the Kohanim. Umaser sheni bitzvono o bidramo, and the maser sheni, whether I'm in the north or the south, Muchulal al hamano, and it will be exchanged for money. So in this Mishnah we learn that although a person is eating at someone's house who we know is not careful with a doraisa, with one of the most important mitzvot, he actually can find himself under those circumstances to still eat with him on Shabbat. And not only that, the Mishnah goes on to say that the wine is something that he actually separates on Shabbos itself, which is very interesting because we don't take maser actually on Shabbos. So although this Mishnah seems to be giving us a technical law of maser, of how to give maser when you think you may be eating food that's demai, I think there are three important lessons for you, Yonah, as you start this next chapter of your life. One, be inclusive. When I learned this Mishnah, I wondered if today the same answer would be given. Right? The Tanaim in their great wisdom understood that halacha should never be made to exclude, but instead should include. Even in this situation where maser was not separated at the time of the meal, we're allowed to actually separate it, and the wine itself could be separated on Shabbat. Number two, what are they doing in this Mishnah? They're sharing a meal together. Always make time to spend it with family and friends. I think part of the reason the Mishnah finds a compromise is because spending time with people, here it was spending a Shabbat meal, is so important. As you grow up, always make time for those you love and cherish those times together. Look around this room tonight. Stand up. Look around. Okay? And I want you to see how special it is when people make an effort to celebrate and spend time together. And number three, always look for the solution. As much in Daddy as I would like to stand here today and tell you that everything will be smooth sailing, we know that that's not always true. But this Mishnah teaches us that there's always a solution. We just have to look for it and find our way around, even sometimes what seems to be a difficult situation.
Yonah, you are blessed to have gone to a wonderful school, have a special extended family, and live in a warm community. But your job now, as you become Gil Mitzvot, is not only to become careful with your performance of Mitzvot, but also to think about how they are performed. Do they bring more shalom into the world? Is there a way you can always find a way to make someone more comfortable? Mommy, not daddy, mommy and I, you will take the lessons of the Mishnah and internalize them throughout life. Be inclusive, share meals and special times with your friends and family. Remember that there is always a solution to a seemingly complex situation. Yonah, we love you very much and are proud of the person you are and are becoming. We thank Hashem for having this chut to be your parents, and we're excited to see what you can do with the kochot Hashem has blessed you with. Mazel tov, and we love you very much.
Okay, we now would like to call up Yonah's Rebbe, Rosh Kila Dina Nyman left. I don't know where she is. Is she here? Oh, she's right here. Okay. We're really very blessed that our children go to a school where we have a woman who teaches Gemara, and Dina has taught all of our children and spoken at our smachot, so thank you.